Good morning, everyone. My name is Shannon. Welcome to King Family Farm. It is Friday. It's not raining. It's a little cloudy. It's a little cool, but we'll take it. So I'm going to harvest some kale here. Just finished feeding the animals. So today we're going to get ready for the market. Don't have a whole lot to go because it's been so wet and so cold. Everything's just kind of sitting there static, like it's just not growing, it's not doing anything, so we'll just have to wait. I am going to pick kale though. The kale is looking really good. We finally got a nice crop of it. It's been a while. This is the kale we started way back in March probably. Kale fortunately recovers really, really well from harvesting. And I like using these lugs. They sell them at Princess Auto as meat lugs, but they work really, really well for harvest for us. Hey, Boots. So we've got that harvested, and I'm gonna pack that up, have some breakfast, probably another cup of coffee, and come down and pick the green onions. I've got some radish, and maybe try and get some weeding done. So it's early Saturday morning. I'm just going to feed the animals here, and my husband's going to load his car with plants, and then we're off to the market, guys. That's Saturday's market day. It's Sunday, and I try really hard not to work too much on Sundays, but it's sunny, and I also try not to film when it's this sunny because the lighting is terrible. But anyways, here we are. So I started prepping a bed here. We're going to put tomatoes in this. I thought I would talk a little bit about it. So I put the soil down with the tractor. You want to start with as weed-free soil as you can find. I'm going to put landscape poly on top of this. And I know you're going to say, Shannon, I've tried it. It doesn't work. I've tried landscape fabric. It's terrible. Landscape fabric is not the same as landscape poly. Landscape fabric is like a weird felty crap. I don't like it. And it disintegrates over time. This is a woven poly. It's called Sunbelt. It's by Dewitt. It's on like year 6, I think. You got to lift it in the winter. I move it around. The other secret with it, you got some wind here too, is I burn holes in it. So I take a template and I lay this and roll it out on the driveway. My dad helped me make some templates, and we burn this with a weed burning torch. And you want to stand on the template so the heat doesn't creep up underneath, and you get just a nice like 3-inch hole, and that's it. Of course the wind is picking up because I want to lay this so it becomes a 2-person project or profanity ensues. But anyways, so one of the other things that people seem to have a problem with is getting it to stay down on the ground. They say the wind rips it up. So one of the real secrets with dealing with that is to make sure your bed is as smooth as you can possibly make it. So we've gone over this. I've shaped it with a shovel. We've raked it with a garden rake, And now I'm going to take a landscape rake and just make it as smooth as I possibly can, so that when I put the landscape fabric down and I staple it to the ground, it doesn't have somewhere for the wind to get up underneath it, because once it gets under, it can slowly loosen it, and of course then it blows away. So this is my landscape rake. It is a 36-inch rake. I bought this at Bois Ag. I've seen them at Princess Auto if you're in Canada. You can also buy them probably at Johnny Seed and a few other places. It's really light, it's aluminum, and I'm just going to run this over the bed and get a nice smooth top before I pull out this landscape fabric. I'm going to get my husband to help me with that, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it by myself with the breeze picking up. Okay, so it's nice and smooth now. All of my beds are essentially the same length, so I can just rotate my fabric all over the place. This particular piece has the holes burned at 18-inch intervals, so it's perfect for tomatoes, which is going in here, and squash as well. So that's what we're going to do. I also have fabric that's burned at 9 inches and 12 inches, depending on what I want to put in the ground. Whoa! So the other key to getting these to work is rusty staples. If you're in your first season, you're not going to have these, but the rusty ones, they stick better, they don't slide out, they're a rough surface, it just works a lot better. If you're not going to use landscape fabric to next year, or you're buying new landscape staples, just bury them in the dirt over the winter, and next season they'll look like this and they'll work. So just put some weight on it to help keep it in place while I get lots of staples in it. Use way more than you think you're going to need. It's going to help. And what we've done is we've chosen, for a 48-inch bed, we've chosen 6-foot wide landscape fabric, and then what that allows is that the pathways also get covered with fabric, so you don't have weeds coming up in between your beds. Okay, so we're back. It's after supper. I've got a tea because I'm fighting off the ick that my kids have shared with me still. So it's an echinacea elderberry tea. And the black flies are going wild because they've just had so much rain to get them going. So you can see we got most of the bed in. I put in 3 T-posts and then I ran out. So because this year I had put up a cattle panel trellis, and because I put up the cattle panel trellis, I don't have enough T-posts to do my tomatoes. So I always do my tomatoes in this type of bed. What it does is it suppresses the weeds for me, and because we live in a fairly cool climate, we are in 3B in northwestern New Brunswick. What that does is it heats up the soil, makes things a little warmer for them. They're just a little happier. So I did also plant in some peppers here because they just need somewhere to go, and it's the right spacing for them. 18 inches is actually almost a little too far, but they'll bush out and they'll do all right there. And then what we're going to do going down there is we'll put in a couple of varieties of zucchini, patty pan squash, bush types, of course, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run the same type of bed. I have way more tomatoes this year than I usually have, so that's kind of the plan with that. Now, I know if you live really in the deep south and you have some, you would not, this landscape fabric may be an issue for you because it heats the soil up too much. The other issue you may have with it is you have really strong perennial weeds down there. And here we just don't have that problem. I have a bit of grass, but I find this particular woven poly is a really good quality one. Sorry, my throat's getting a bit fuzzy here. And so I don't have the issues with things growing through it. I've used lesser quality ones that are also woven poly, and they're not as good, and what happens is the grass will grow through them. So, but here for the most part I'm trying to suppress weeds like lamb's quarters. Hi Boots, how are you, sweetie? Are you feeling neglected? You didn't get enough pets today? No? Okay. Really, I only have 2 hands. One of them's holding the camera, the other one's holding my tea. So and you can see I have weed issues, and so it allows me time to deal with the weeds. And so we will do another bed right here, and it'll get the same stuff. So that's kind of it. If you have any questions, what I'll do is I'll try and link all the supplies. This is like the tomato fence here. It's called tomato fence, and I bought it at Home Hardware. I'm sure you can get it at other places, and I'll see if I can find it. I'll link it down below. I'm sure it's available at like Princess Auto, Harbor Freight, that kind of place if you're in the US. And we find it's just enough. We usually just zip tie it right on. I used some twine today because that's what I have, because I still haven't bought zip ties. Somebody remind me to put them on my list. So that's kind of it, guys. It's looking good. Things are really starting to pop. They really, really are, and including the weeds. So the weed barrier here is going to give me the chance to deal with that. Usually when I pull my tomatoes, what goes in after tomatoes is garlic, because this is going to be the last thing I pull at the end of the season. And so I'll put my garlic in there, and it's always done really well following tomatoes. So that's just what I do. So it's time to mow again. It's getting really, the heat and the sun is gonna bring on the weeds. But you can see there's the lettuce is finally doing something. It's starting to look good. I'm gonna have to get into my bed here that's got flowers into it. I've got some other flowers to plant. This one here is probably going to end up being squash. We'll see what happens. I just can't get over how good this garlic looks though. It's just fabulous. So it's a bit hazy today. I don't know if you can see that haze. I'm going to guess that that's the wildfires and it's coming down from Quebec. It's not really hot enough for it to be like heat haze for here. So, but things are coming along nicely. So these are just a selection of hot peppers. I think there's like one sweet pepper in there, but it was just like the last dregs of what I had that needed to get planted. And so that's what's there. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you here next time on the farm. Hey, 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 are you lonely? Hey, what's going on?